So the term I tend to hear more now is post-quantum cryptography, right? Is basically making sure you're able to. But it does bring up an interesting point. How do you know it's really quantum secure if there's no air quotes real quantum machine now? And I think it's important to point out that Shor's algorithm, which is the one we figured out, which is not we, but like Peter Shor figured out, would break our traditional infrastructure, was developed in the 90s. I want to say 1992 or 94. So how do these theoreticians, mathematicians work this out on for machines that don't quite exist yet?
Well, I think today what people need to do is looking at, because obviously we're still on the progress of quantum machines coming directly themselves. But
Right.
what they can do is they can run it across their own systems and they can pound it with different capabilities. Like they can run up a cluster of D-Wave quantum machines and try to see what they can do, right? But end of the day, they need to button up what's there currently, right? And you have to draw a line in the sand on this stuff pretty quickly because, as you just mentioned, on the harvest now, decrypt later sort of mindset that's going on that we know is happening, that means they already have the data and they're getting it every day. Like, and they're doing it in ways from the chip that's around all the cybersecurity stuff, and it's been baked in for a long time. And you can imagine, I mean, I haven't seen the data centers they have, but I imagine they have to be, might probably be able to see them from Google if you look down, because they have to probably be pretty massive by this point. And yeah, I mean, I think that that's the challenge, right? Is they're going to be going on there. In the US, I think that where people need to focus on is that line in the sand where they upgrade enough, right? And that's the challenge, I think, where even NIST, coming out with the 512 standard initially, right? That obviously is much more in the AES or symmetric side than 256, right?
And to be clear, you're talking about 256-bit encryption, which is going to be
Exactly.
the width of the key, and now you're basically doubling it to 500 or more than double. No, you're doubling it. But the computational space is an exponential. Is that a fair way to say it?
That is definitely a fair way to say it. And if you think about key length, the overall strength of your key is based on how many characters and the randomness of each of those characters, right? And so that's where things like RNG and all those things come into play. They're attacking that specific piece of it, trying to deal with the random number aspect.